Credit card companies are making it difficult to buy crypto, but Coinbase is making it easier to accept crypto on your site. Millennials are a crypto-friendly generation. And how would you like to get paid to stream media from YouTube, Spotify, and others? We've got things to say, and we've got questions to ask. Look, you're here. We're here. Let's do this. It's episode number 85 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
Hi, everyone. You're listening to the Bad Crypto Podcast. My name is Naomi Brockwell. Stay bad.
Hi, my name is Joel, and I'm a cryptocurrency addict.
My name is Travis, and I, too, am addicted to bit.
To bit? Just
Yeah.
a bit?
To bit.
Not the whole bit? Not the whole
Not
coin?
a bit.
Just a bit?
No.
Just a little
Yeah,
bit?
I'm addicted to just a little bit. This.
This is where you guys out there in Bad Cryptopia go, hi, Joel. Hi, Travis.
This is the Unenthusiastic Crypto Podcast.
I'm not sober because I'm clearly addicted to crypto. Might as well face it because it is the Bad Crypto Podcast, the show for the crypto curious, the crypto serious, and the crypto addictified. That would be us.
That would be us. And here we are, episode 85, you guys. Like, wow. You factor those in, plus all of our ICO spotlights and songs, and we're like 110 episodes deep.
Yeah, we're real. It's 7 months, and or is it 8? No, it's 7 months, and we're going to hit a year before you know it. And we really, Travis, need to start talking about Bad CryptoCon 2018 if that's going to happen this summer.
We should actually make a decision and plan. Maybe if we're going to actually do it, we should do some things about that thing. Maybe we should, and we're bad.
There's just so much going on. You know, we're heard around the world in 190 or so countries and millions of downloads, and you guys are just the best fans. We have the best fans, Mr. Travis Wright.
You know, you go to that Facebook group and you see just the amazing, awesome people that are there. On the Telegram group, we seem to attract just really high quality people, which is really surprising when our podcast is so bad.
Yeah. We also attract the best sponsors, including the Zilla app, which is the ICO marketplace app. And this is supposed to be showing up. You guys know this is like the continuing saga. Apple, when you going to release this thing, you guys can go check it out, zla.io/bad, and learn what it's supposed to be when it finally arrives. And hopefully that will be at any moment. In the meantime, let's go ahead and go to this week's mailbag.
Bad Crypto voicemail. You have one new message.
Hey, Travis. Hey, Joel. I'm not going to state my name on this one, but I am a little frustrated. I've got some bad information from Travis. I joined the Mastermind, and my penis has not grown 3 inches yet. So I am waiting on this to happen, and I was expecting it to happen. So anyways, stay bad.
Well, clearly it's because you haven't been in the Bad Crypto Mastermind group long enough.
Bad Crypto Mastermind is like Viagra for your cryptos.
Badco.in/mastermind if you would like to join the growth of our community.
Hey guys, Brian from sunny Florida calling in again, long-time listener, love the show. I'm just curious to see if you guys wanted to bring somebody on the show that was maybe a little more bearish, to kind of hear the other side of the story, to make sure we're not all just drinking the crypto Kool-Aid here. So just trying to kind of get the other side of the story, maybe somebody who has the credentials like Ronnie Mo has, but thinks that things are not going to go up and up and up. So just curious to hear about that other side. Thanks, guys. Stay bad.
Well, Travis, I would be totally open to having somebody that's more on the bearish side. You know, Jamie Dimon, won't he come on the show?
Well, won't you come on? Yeah, just get on the show. We did have Peter Schiff on the show. He's about as bearish as you can be.
He's a snuggly bear.
Yeah, he was not a teddy bear. At the end of the show, he was nice. At the first, he was a grumpy bear, grizzly. Then he became more friendly over time.
He's a gold bear because he's all about that gold. But I would not mind having somebody who is really knowledgeable about crypto, who's been, into crypto for years, but feels like, maybe things are going wrong. Maybe this really is a bubble. So if you guys have any suggestions for who that would be, then send us a message at badcryptopodcast@gmail.com. And let us know, or go to badcryptopodcast.com and click the contact.
And tell them that we think crypto is bad, and so they need to come on the show and agree with us.
Bad Crypto Inbox. You got mail.
Nick writes us via that contact form, says, "Hey guys, I find myself laying awake at night thinking of Travis." No. Close, because he says, "I find myself laying awake at night staring at the ceiling, listening to both of your soothing voices. And boom, it hits me. How did this power couple meet? Everyone knows about Jay-Z and Beyonce. I think it's time they know about Joel and Travis. Stay bad." Well, we actually have talked about this, but Travis, why don't you recount that beautiful day that you and I first encountered one another?
You know what? There is an episode out there, and I'm not sure exactly what episode number it is. I'm actually fervently typing it in right now. That's just like our superhero power story. Oh, the origin story.
But what like the very first encounter, was it an introduction from?
It was an introduction from Lori Ruff. We met in a suburb of Denver. It was you and I and Chris Pulley. And how hilarious is it that you and I and Chris Pulley are working on Bad Crypto?
How about
episode
that?
27? If you go to badco.in/027, you will hear the origin story of Joel and Travis on actually the third time that we ever hung out in person.
And it will make you to smile and to be happy and to be bad. So as we're being bad, let's check the news. Well, Travis, the establishment continues to rail against crypto. In fact, a number of big banks, big United States banks, are saying, guess what? You can't be buying the cryptos with your credit card anymore.
Yeah, it's not just in America that's happened, but here in America, JP Morgan Chase, they're done. Bank of America and Citigroup said that they're halting the purchases of Bitcoin and other cryptos on the card. So if in the past you had gone to Coinbase or something and you were buying cryptos with your credit card, that no longer works.
Nope, they've started declining those transactions, and it doesn't affect debit cards, apparently, just credit cards. They're saying they don't want the credit risk associated with those transactions. But I think, what's the truth there is crypto.
Because the thing about credit cards that most people don't understand, Mr. Joel Comm, is that credit does not exist until the moment somebody swipes that card. It didn't exist until then. And if it was a credit risk, then it actually hurts. If the person buys a bunch of Bitcoin and then doesn't pay their credit, it hurts their bill, right? And they're really that's one thing about the credit cards that is so crazy to me. It's not that JP Morgan has all this money they're waiting to loan out to people. It's here's a card, and once you swipe, now that money is now created from thin air right then, and now you are responsible for interest on top of money that didn't even exist until the moment you swipe the card. So this is a play not for that because of risk BS that they're saying. This is because they're battling a little bit against crypto. This is their pushback.
But while Coinbase is losing the opportunity for people to buy crypto with credit, they're actually rolling out a service that makes it easier for merchants to accept crypto payments.
Yeah, like imagine how handy it's going to be to have this plugin on websites that will allow purchases in Ethereum, Bitcoin, Bcash, or Litecoin. So pretty much any of the 4 coins or the 3 coins and that other 4 coin, you are able to purchase and have that on your website. So that is pretty handy because there's a lot of people who use Coinbase as their entree into the crypto world. That's their first step. And now you make an easy like Chrome-like plugin that you can just put on your website, maybe a WordPress plugin, and now people can buy and send money through that. That could be really helpful.
We need, real world application. That's where crypto goes mainstream. And so this is a step towards that. And, this new generation, well, they're not the newest. They're now an older generation, but they're the millennials. I don't know what what is the generation of kids now? Is there a official
millennials? And then there's Gen Z. And then after that, it's Gen Alpha.
We're starting again.
Mm-hmm.
Starting over. It should be double A, shouldn't it?
It should be, but you know what? If you go through 26 generations of people, none of those other people are still alive.
Right. That's true. We can start over again. It's like recycling hurricane names, once we've gone through the alphabet. Well, here's the news story on cryptodaily.co.uk. Millennials love Bitcoin and hate stocks. So this, they find investing less intimidating. Investing in cryptos less intimidating than putting money in the stock market or other traditional investments.
And this was an article right here on Crypto Daily, but this was actually confirmed. If you'd had a chance to listen to the U.S. Senate discussions around cryptocurrency that happened, last week at this point, but in early February 2018, if you go back and watch that video, Giancarlo, the head of the CFTC, he basically said, my family, the young kids in my family and the millennials, they love crypto. They don't like the stock market at all. And more data is popping up that those aged between 18 and 39 seem less willing to take a chance with traditional investment opportunities. And that's so true. It's like when the financial crisis of 2008 happened, I thought for sure, oh my gosh, eventually this is just going to fall off the cliff, Mr. Joel Comm, which is why I was investing in gold and silver at that time, which instead in 2009 through 2012, I should have been investing in crypto. And now I should be taking all my crypto gains and buying stacks of gold, but I got it backwards.
Well, if you can't read the writing on the wall in terms of what the trend is here, then you can't read or you don't have a wall to read anything off of, because clearly blockchain and crypto are the future. And there are some that are doing some really cool real world applications. In fact, in the feature segment that we're getting ready to play for you right now, you're going to meet the CEO of a company that's doing some cool stuff in an existing space. Typically we do these ICO features on the ICO Spotlight, but sometimes we've got more projects to show you than we have time for in the one show. And the feature today is really something super fascinating to Travis and I as content creators. So our full disclaimer and transparency for you guys, the segment you're about to hear, the interview with Dan Novias of Current, is a sponsored segment, an ICO Spotlight, if you will, and I believe you will. That means we're being compensated for this. This is actually a sponsored slot. I was going to say an advertisement. I guess it is really in all intents and purposes. It's the same type of concept, but we like what they're doing. We wanted to bring this to you, and in no way are we making any recommendations for you to purchase this or any crypto at all. We never do make recommendations.
Really tough questions too, though. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're just saying, hey, here's a nice little easy thing. Like, we ask some tough questions because they may be paying to be on the show, but they're not paying for us to be nice to them.
Well, we're nice just because we're nice. Well, I'm nice. You're sometimes.
I'm nice sometimes.
Yeah. Good cop, bad cop. I'll let you guys decide which is which. So with that disclaimer in place, secured so that everybody knows exactly what's going on, let's go to the interview. I am frequently and regularly streaming content. And I'll bet you are too, whether it's Netflix or YouTube or Spotify or SoundCloud or whatever. And I pay for some of that, but nobody ever pays me for it.
That's unacceptable, Mr. Joel Comm. They have your attention. Why not? Why shouldn't they pay you? And yeah, if I'm streaming stuff, normally I stream Spotify, I stream Audible. Those are things that I typically will stream. I don't watch a lot of TV, so I don't watch a lot of Netflix. But I love streaming radio. I listen to Sirius XM Beatles channel in my car a lot.
Well, I'll tell you something I hope you understand. And when I say that something, Mr. Travis Wright, I want to hold your hand.
Oh, that's so sweet. Very nice. Well, next time we see you, I'll give you a high five.
Courtesy of John Paul, George, and Ringo. Well, the gentleman we have with us on our feature today, his name is Dan Novias, and Dan is the CEO with Current. The website is current.us, and this is an existing application in the iOS App Store and coming soon to Google Play with over 200,000 users, and it looks like they are blockchainifying, incentivizing streaming for getting paid for streaming all of your media, whether it's YouTube or SoundCloud or movies or TV shows or whatever. So, Dan, welcome to Bad Crypto.
Thanks for having me, guys. I like your music rhymes, man. I think you have a future in that. The podcast, as a side gig.
We do some music here. We've actually released 2 songs on Bad Crypto, where some of our fans are sorry to say.
Don't encourage us, Dan.
Yeah, it's bad. So Current is an existing app. Talk about what it does now.
Yeah, so Current, from a platform perspective, it brings together all your favorite media networks into one place. So today we integrate with YouTube, we integrate with SoundCloud, Spotify, over 100,000 radio stations, a variety of different playlists, and working on several other integrations. And we bring that all into one place. From a protocol perspective, what we're doing is essentially rewarding people for their most important assets, which we believe is their data, their time, and that attention. The first place that protocol is being implemented is obviously on the on the current platform. But what we're hoping is that in the way that we're building it is so that any media platform can actually use our protocol to reward its users for their data, their time, and their attention, and create their own sub token on the current network. So I can go more into that, but today we think that all media will have this incentive-based ecosystem model, and we're really just setting the precedent of what we think media consumption will be in the next 2 to 5 and years and beyond.
It's a fascinating space because it's not like the olden days where people would sit around their TV and they had 3 channels to choose from. We have so many different places where you can consume media. Like, I have 2 children, and my daughter, who's 12, loves watching YouTube videos. She also plays some apps that she has on her phone, and it's just interesting to see how they literally never use the TV in the main room anymore. It's like,
what is a TV? What is that? I don't even know what a TV is.
Yeah, it's a big rectangular looking thing that normally sits in a corner. But so how did you guys come about this project, and why? That question by Simon Sinek. Why? What is the why behind Current?
Hi, man, I love that you brought that up. It's a great talk. So I think that I'll tell you how we came up with it, but just to add to your point, something I always think about, and it's actually just a philosophy of how I try and live at least my life. The average human today lives about 30,000 days, right, which is about 82 years. The average 19-year-old today is spending about 5 hours a day consuming media on their phone. If you project that out over the course of a lifetime, it's about 16 years of your time that's just on that, and it's going up. So if you think of your daughter, the amount of time that she will be spending, consuming digital media, because it just continues more and more. Our lives, interact and intersect with technology. So when you think about that concept, everything that you do with your life, you should do with purpose. And if you're not doing it with purpose, you should at least get paid for it. Right. And that's like our philosophy around that. And I think that, the idea behind Current didn't necessarily start with just that premise around rewarding people for this attention and what that means. It started off as, we wanted to create a media ecosystem that, independent of what country you were living in or anywhere in the world, that you would have access to all forms of media. As you were saying, we had this decoupling of cord cutting services that came out, and then media became very fragmented with a variety of different services. And then what I figured was going to happen is that the recoupling of the uncoupling of services would happen eventually. And then when we started thinking about, well, even if we bring together all the services that we do today, we can only really be in 100 and some countries out of the 190 countries that exist. So then we started thinking about decentralized media. And how you would be able to properly execute in that. Because if you think about decentralized media, it's a very interesting concept, but you have a chicken and an egg problem that happens because, we've spent years on services like YouTube and Spotify and whatever curating our content. So I don't think that any decentralized service will just pop up out of nowhere because mainstream consumers just want the best experience. They don't care if it's decentralized or not, etc. So then we started thinking, well, would you incentivize that behavior? And then that ultimately led us to thinking about, well, what if you actually rewarded people for their attention, right? Which is such an important asset. Then if you rewarded, the different players in that consumption cycle, being the consumers, the creators, the curators, and ultimately the networks, then you could have this network effect to be able to actively bring in decentralized media distribution alongside centralized services, and you'd create the ultimate media ecosystem. And then, that's kind of how the business came to be, or the concept came to be, where like one thing led to another in very startup-like fashion. When we first started building, it started out as one thing, and then you kind of see like, what are people gravitating towards, what makes sense? And that's ultimately what, came about with Current. And, we, raised a seed round before we did our token sale to get to where we are today, and kind of like experimented with those pivots and those ideas and what people were, going after and liked and didn't like, etc. But, from the why, I just think that, this thing is something that, independent of who you are, where you come from, what language you speak, the one thing that we all share is that we consume media. And it's a massive habit that all of us do, because it brings us happiness, it brings us learning, enjoyment, and all this stuff. And I think that if you can reward people for that consumption habit in an effective way, and I believe that will be the next, that's one of our most precious assets. That's kind of what Current stands for. The currency or your token is really the asset behind it. What we're measuring is what people's attention and time and data is worth.
So how does that actually work then in the ecosystem? It's the currency, CRNC, is the token. How do you use it?
Currency can be used for, on the consumer side of things, to pay for premium membership subscriptions. I mean, it has a dollar value associated to it. So that's what I believe the majority of consumers will use it for. Now, we also reward the creators on the network in a passive way. So basically, they're getting rewarded twice. They're getting their original licensing fees from services like Spotify or YouTube or whomever, so the traditional licensing fees, and then we're rewarding currency in an escrow once they meet a certain threshold that they can claim up to 12 months. And then we also reward the curators, so people that are curating content on the platform. So something that today we do out of passion because you like a topic or you're passionate about a song or music, and these platforms get a lot of inherent benefits, but we're rewarding that curation too. So you're getting all that life cycle. Now, what we look at on why you're being rewarded is a variety of different factors. So we assign a contribution coefficient, or a variable essentially, to every single user. And what we look at is like, okay, what is this person's consumption worth? So much like a hash rate, when you're Bitcoin money, the higher it is, the more you earn. So we're looking at like, if this person wants to share data, how many data sources have they shared with us? Did they share, their calendar access if they wanted to? Did they share their location access? Do they have ads on? Is it foreground use? Is it background use? What's their geo? Like, it's a variety of different things. And that's what you're rewarding, because, the more data and the more contribution, and for example, that you're giving to the ecosystem, the better our recommendations engine can be, the better our advertising can be, all these things. And that's what essentially people are being rewarded on. And it's allowing users to choose. And it's about giving people choice. It's about giving people choice of how they consume their content, because today the choices are very binary. It's like, you either pay a subscription service, right? Or you don't pay a subscription and you get ads, and those are pretty much the two choices. And I think, we do that first for the consumers. And then, if you think about what we're doing for the creators today, when they upload content, you upload your thing to SoundCloud or Stitcher or, YouTube, your choices are pretty binary as well. It's like, YouTube, you might give you an extra 10% on your rev share rate, or Spotify, you might be able to negotiate a tag. But if you wanted to go sell your music on Apple Music or your song on whatever, it's like, you don't put it for 49 cents. You don't put it for $99. You have to put it for $129, because that is what price the Apple's dictates, right?
Centralized, yes.
Yes. So the concept behind this is that if I allow these services, I'm not saying that you shouldn't put your content there, because it's great distribution. But I'm saying that if I'm getting tens of millions of people to be a part of this ecosystem, and then now we launched that decentralized platform that lives along these centralized services. Now creators can be like, you know what? I want to charge a fraction of a cent for my content, or I want to actually pay you a fraction of a cent for the content, or I want to give it free, whatever. It's about giving the creators a choice of how they want to distribute content, throughout the world. And we might be able to also give them access to a variety of countries that they're not in today, because of decentralized distribution. And then moving into the future of the platform. So, we're taking a variety of different angles of where we see media consumption. And, we're not trying to, and I'm like, our goal isn't necessarily just to be like, a westernized platform. And that's why we thought about like, it shouldn't just be a platform-based ecosystem. We should make this protocol so that other media platforms can tap into it and create their own incentivized mechanisms as well. Because I think that all media consumption will be this way as we move into the future. So that's kind of like, some of the thought processes around that.
Right on. Let me ask you this. So say, for example, there was a podcast about crypto and it was bad. Like, how would a show like that benefit from your streaming platform? Because we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on all the TuneIn and iHeartRadio and all that stuff. How would that work for us?
Yeah. So essentially the way it works is, once someone reaches like a certain threshold, I believe it's like, say, 10 streaming hours or it's like a very minimum threshold. They become eligible to basically, claim just the tokens associated to their consumption. So if I'm a user and I'm consuming hours of media, this breakdown of every token that's essentially created or mined, right? We still use the word mined in their system, but it's basically just based off consumption as the North Star, would get put in the breakdown is 55% goes to the consumer, the person consuming, then 20% goes to the creators, the content that they're consuming, who created it, and then 20% goes to the curators, and then there's 5% for referral fees and the token pool. So you essentially could then tap into Current and see like how much did I earn, and there's nothing that you need to really do at this point in time, like in this first phase of the ecosystem. It's like as long as your platform is as long as your content is in the platforms that we integrate with, and people are consuming in it, then you're eligible to do that. Now, if people don't claim it after a period of 12 months, what we imposed was a decay rate, a 10% a month decay rate that it goes back into the token pool. And the reason that we did that is that, we wanted to incentivize people to come on into the ecosystem, because if you think of what that business model is, it's actually quite amazing, because I go into, creators like, hey, you have all this free, cryptocurrency sitting here that you never knew you were going to get. There's nothing that you had to do. And here it is, and by the way, here's like what we're trying to build, and what do you stand? And then like, here's what we stand for. And I think that's like, we've had a tremendous response from, the creative industry from that, because, we're trying to shape like, what the future of media and get more control to those creators and provide more monetization routes for them as well.
As a longtime content creator, on many platforms, I've done radio, obviously doing podcasting, created video, both recorded and live. Monetizing it has always been a challenge. And so this is certainly interesting to me. Let's talk a little bit about the tokenomics. It looks like you have a fixed token supply of 1 billion CNRCs. Explain how somebody then participates in getting some of these tokens.
Yeah, so one of the ways was through our token sale, which we closed out last Tuesday, and we ended up raising $36 million on the private side. We now have a $4 million minimum airdrop that we're doing that people can sign up for right now. One of the reasons that we decided to do or take this approach was, we had about 250,000 people in the course of literally 3.5 weeks express interest in participating in the current token sale. So the things that we didn't want to do, especially for us, we have to think about this even further, is as a consumer-facing ecosystem, users are my North Star, right? And if I went and did a token sale, for example, we would have had to block users because of the regulatory environment. Right. And that's not good for us. And we also didn't want to limit allocations for those who were able to participate. So what we decided to do is, we closed it on the private side from a regulatory perspective. And then we, lined up with strategic backers through that. And then now we're, giving the community millions of dollars of tokens to best see the ecosystem. So we didn't have to block anyone and allow everyone to participate. We have a variety of different opportunities for people to earn. And then just from a perspective of, the way for you to earn when you're consuming on the platform. So once we implement this into the ecosystem itself, which, we're going to make some announcements on, it's just as simple as just going in there and consuming content, and we're working on some partnerships to also bring this to other platforms as well for a similar, like I was saying, like other incentive-based ecosystems. Then you just consume content and, provide, and you decide how you want to consume your media and earn that currency. So right now, those are the best ways, I guess, to participate as we move forward.
All right. So I want to ask you real quick about your team, right? So I know you have some amazing investors and advisors, right? You got some great people on there. Mark Cuban of the Dallas Mavericks, John Wise, who's the CEO of Loki. You have some other, people of Galia over there at Bancor who we'll be chatting with shortly. You have some great members on the advising team. Now, it says you have a proven team How many actual team employee members do you have currently, and how would you rate them when it comes to their technical expertise?
Yeah. So my team and I my co-founder Kieran and Nick as well. I think that we've been working with each other for nearly 6 years, right? And I think that Kieran and I have definitely met when he was literally getting out of high school. I think that from a perspective, our team today is about 8 people, and we have a variety of different contractors. That's full-time people. Then we have a variety of contractors and other people that we work with. But in terms of a technical perspective, I think we've always focused on consumer-facing ecosystems, right? We've probably brought in 5 to 10 apps in the top 10 of the App Store, generating tens of millions of downloads, making several millions of dollars in that. We ran one of the top 500 highest traffic websites in the space as well. And we've been building, obviously, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to download Current to see kind of, what we've built. But a lot of these issues that, when you're investing, when you're putting money into anything, you're really backing a team. And I think that, there's a lot of lessons that teams do as they scale forward, and we've learned a lot of the lessons because we scale teams from 0 to 30 to 50 employees and things like that. So, that's in terms of the technical capabilities and scaling businesses, that's something that we've, have done. And I'm sure that there will be things that we'll have to encompass that, not even we know, because especially when you bring, nearly $40 million in, you're scaling, it's a totally different animal, right? And we've been meeting with those advisors, meeting with guys like Bancor and Galia and Eyal to see what are the challenges that you faced, when you did your token sale, because it's not a common thing to go from 8 to 50. And if you think about what that means for your culture, your engineering team, and scaling that properly without creating a bunch of chaos, it's a lot of things to think about. And we've been planning it for quite a bit. So, I think our team has gotten us to a point where we are today. And now we're bringing in more senior development talent to even assist in the scaling process around what we're doing, and building this further infrastructure. So we're also fortunate to have, guys like Dave Hoover, who is also an advisor and also investor of our project, early seed investor as well, who's a mentor to Kieran, and he was an engineer at Consensus and head of blockchain engineering at Raise and now Augur. So that has helped with our infrastructure and a lot of stuff like that. And he's kind of working with us as well. And we're bringing a bunch of other people on that. So from a technical standpoint and just executing on a product, I think that we have an incredible situation, and by having a product out in the market, it also helps as well.
Surround yourself with some pretty awesome people for sure.
There's a way for you guys to participate in the airdrop. Go to current.us and right there on the main page, enter your email to apply for that. And you can learn a lot more about the app, including their referral program and all the places that you can connect with Current. In fact, in the lower right-hand corner, there's a button that says AMA, Ask Dan Anything, chat with our CEO live. So if you have additional questions, just click that chat now button. And Dan, does that actually go to you?
So yeah, it goes to our Telegram group. I am active in the Telegram every day. We have about 80 at the time of this recording. We have about 81,000 people.
Wow. It's actually 82,886. So that is one of the biggest Telegram groups I've ever seen. Really strong.
Yeah, it grows about 5,000, 45,000 every day. We're about to hit the 100,000 cap. So we're just made another channel today for news updates because that's the only thing we can do. And we have a 24/7 community service in there as well. 5 or 6 people that man that any hours of the day. The community has been very strong on this, and we get so many replies. When I wake up in the morning and I sleep say 6-7 hours, it's when you click on Telegram, it's 8,000 unread messages. You're like, wow, that's a shitload. If people at me or DM me, I really do try and read every question because it's important to be in tune with your community and see what people are, saying and questions and things like that. So, we try very hard, and that's why we wanted to have that thing in there to allow people to open those lines of communication and answer questions and be in tune. And that's why we do a lot of interviews, a lot of reviews, a lot of AMAs, and be there for the community.
Well, congratulations on a successful pre-raise. And you guys can go check out all the things at the website current.us. Dan Novias, CEO, thanks again for joining us. Travis, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I would just be curious, Dan. One of the questions that all of our listeners, they really love to know is when Lambo, when Moon?
I don't know that he can answer that question.
Yeah, just from a legal perspective, but it is like a funny thing that's like the it's funny that you just said that, because I literally was just telling my mother about that, and I was like, she's like, "What's the most common question people ask?" I'm like, "When Moon, when Lambo?" That's the question that we see the most.
Well, best of luck on your project, man. It looks like you got some great stuff going on over there. You already have an app up on iOS. Looks like how long until Android is ready?
Man, we're hoping by sometime in Q2 we'll be able to release that. We're working hard on it, and we know that we have a huge Android community out there.
I am one of them.
I know. I man, it's when you're building I think this goes back to what we were saying earlier. It's when you're running, especially with the seed stage budget, you're pivoting a lot, right? And to run two development, especially when we do native development on our stuff, it just doesn't make sense from a financial perspective, because you're still trying to figure out. Now that we have our product in place, now we'll have. That's why we're hustling hard on it. So we'll have it soon, and I will gladly share it with you as soon as it is.
Excellent. Rock on, my friend. We'll catch you up a little later.
All right. Thanks, guys.
There we go. That was current, and now it's past, because we've already had that interview now, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah. And we hope you've enjoyed the show, and we do appreciate the reviews. In fact, those of you who take the time to do that, we love you.
Special place in heaven.
Yeah. We love you more, don't we?
It's next to good crypto.
Yeah, if you want more love, then go give us love. Go to iTunes or any of the places that you listen and just take a minute. Come on. We know that we've just taken 45 minutes or so from your life that you'll never get back. But if we could just have one more minute that you'll never get back, go write us a review. And we're not going to tell you how to review us, but go do it. Review us honestly. And
that's fine. Maybe your parents didn't hug you enough, but that's why we're here to hug you. We're hugging your eardrums.
That is what we do, actually. Travis and I are off to, in a couple days, we're off to San Francisco for D10E. We told you about this before. We're going to tell you again, d10e.biz. If you're in the area, go get a ticket and come see Bad Crypto live. It's going to be great fun, and we're also going to be interviewing some ICOs that are there to compete in the ICO pitch. I think there's 25 ICOs that are going to be doing a pitch that day for a prize.
It could be. Yeah, we're going to be doing it live again, and it could be a total train wreck. So you're going to want to see that in person if at all possible.
Yeah, we don't even know what we're going to do yet, but we'll figure it out because we're bad in a good way.
Yeah, that's at least that's what we're thinking. So we'll see. Yeah, so stay bad, I guess. I don't know. Uncertainty.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.